Well, isn't this exciting for you guys? This is the one and only experience you'll have of my house. So, I entitled my paper The Implications of Theosis on Human Mind-Body Structure, an integration of theosis with the mind-body reflections of Michael Polanyi. And basically my paper is about the Eastern Orthodox doctrine of theosis or deification and what it might mean for the mind-body problem. So, first of all, what is theosis? Theosis is based on the idea of us becoming one with Christ, and the Eastern Orthodox believe that we will become ontologically unified with the community of the Trinity. They use language like God became man so that men could become gods. Now, that sounds a little bit weird, but there are a few distinctions that are key to make to understand this doctrine. First of all, there's a distinction that the Orthodox make between God's essence and his energies. So his essence is transcendent, it's apart from creation. His energies is him in his activity with his creation. It's him in his immanence. And we are united, our person, our essence is united with God's energies at the core of our personhood. And so what this creates is a differentiated unity where we are united with Christ and he is a part of us, and we were created from the beginning to be in a union with him, but we still retain an aspect of our individuality. And this is conceived of being acceptable in the same way that the unity of the Trinity is acceptable and the unity of God and man in the Incarnation is acceptable. It's somewhat paradoxical, but it's still considered possible. And this is just the differentiated unities are just a nature, part of our faith. So they don't worry too much about the mystery. They love mystery, the Orthodox do. And so they conceive of humans as the focal point for God's overall plan of uniting himself to all of creation. So he unites himself to everything that he's created through us as physical, spiritually receptive beings. The other key distinction to make is between image and likeness. They think that these mean different things. So image is how God has structured us, and it's our potentiality to be united with him. And likeness is that potentiality being actualized. So in image, we've been created such that we are incomplete and less than human without the participation of God in our ontology. And to the degree that we're united with God is the degree to which we are fully human. And that then requires, I think, a structure of human being that is receptive to infusion by spiritual realities. So obviously, God is of a different substance than we are, and there needs to be a way in which we're structured in which that substance can infuse everything that we are and be united with us while still maintaining a differentiation. And then also, because of the fall, our human personhood requires the ability to be transformed. So I was trying to look for a theory of mind-body that would go with this idea of differentiated unity, transformational ability, and infusibility, and I think that Michael Polanyi provides some reflections that work well with it. So he conceives of the human person as arising from a lot of different storms of particular things, physical things, mental things, memories, things that have formed us. That all comes together like bits of, he compares it to a 3D image with all these different bits of data that we see on a 2D image. When we're seeing those things in a stereo image, like when we watch a 3D movie, they come together and the 3D images arises out of it. But when you analyze any of the 2D parts, you're not ever going to get to the 3D image. And in the same way, he thinks that human beings are a stratified entity where the particulars of a human all come together, and out of that arises our higher consciousness. But that higher consciousness can't be isolated in linear fashion from any of those particulars. It's arising out of it as and is imposing a higher principle that's guiding all of those lower boundary conditions of those particulars, and it becomes, a separate thing. So in a way, he's dualistic, kind of property dualistic. It's blending property dualism with emergent physicalism, and he doesn't really just define it one way or the other. But the parallels that I see with Polanyi is that his structure of human consciousness allows things to enter in and fall out of the human person without damaging the continuity of human personhood on that higher principle level, because that in a way stands apart and separate from all the different particulars. And so much of what makes up who we are can be transformed, new building blocks can be added, and there's all these, it's all constituted through these different relations. We aren't those relations, but we arise out of those relations. And so new relations can be added in, like a very comprehensive, unifying relation with the Spirit of God. And it also leaves room for there to be transformation, because bits and pieces of who we are and things that have formed us and all of these other things can be replaced by new realities, new desires, new things that make up who we are, that are all surrounding our kind of phenomenological core of our consciousness, which is arising out of all those different particulars. So my paper just tries to sum up and illuminate how Polanyi's idea of human consciousness could harmonize really well with theosis in a way that some of the more monadic substance dualisms might struggle to do.